I'm Gilford Monrose. I'm the pastor of Mount Zion Church in East Flatbush. I'm also the Faith-Based Director of Clergy Initiative for the Brooklyn Borough President, Eric Adams. And, one of the things that my role is that I help faith leaders navigate the complexities of government. One of the things about Brooklyn is that, you can go from one place, you can see a mosque, you can see a Christian church, you can see a synagogue, you can see pagans, you can see wherever, all in one particular block in Brooklyn. I always would say to people who come to Borough Hall is that I want you to have the right to pray as I want the right to pray as well. We have celebrations and activities and festivities. We either host them, support them, sponsor, partner, open up our space when the space was open to Borough Hall to allow them to come in and to celebrate their faith so that all of us can get along in this community. We call it the sum of George Floyd, when America, for the first time, Canada was still and saw very front and foremost before their very eyes, a life that was taken and snuffed away. Then for COVID-19, don't forget that you had an idea of overcrowded situations in hospitals in the poor and brown and black communities. Then you had pastors and faith leaders for the first time closing the houses of worship. Never before have we seen this. We did a memorial for about 80 faith leaders who died in Brooklyn alone, who passed away from COVID-19. And that was sad. We lost a lot of giants during COVID-19. And I think that when you look back at history again, it will prove that, wow, we went through a lot of changes in Brooklyn. But it was a new day as well. A lot of new leaders started to rise up. A lot of new ministries started to take charge. A lot of people started to serve who never used to serve anymore. Moving out of your church and your houses of worship and your synagogue and your mosque and your temples, and now you're going out into the street. Serving people by the love of your tradition, right? Whatever God that you serve was always a God of love and compassion. And so we saw that Brooklyn as a whole rose to the challenge. We still had that resolve spiritually, and we still had that center that no matter what chaos was thrown at us, we are really stronger when we come together. I'm serving in Flatbush. It's a predominantly Caribbean American neighborhood. And so one of the things that I deal with, of course, is immigration. One of the things that we also deal with is gun violence. And so what we have seen, of course, with COVID-19 is that there need to be special care and attention given to these communities who are dying first, dying fast, and need the support from faith leaders across the board. So the work that we do in East Flatbush is to be a liaison between the police department, the 67th Precinct, along with our community. And so we form a group called the 67th Precinct Clergy Council that is also known as the God Squad. We decide to respond to the violence by, number one, caring for the families, to let them know, listen, we don't want you to walk alone because of your son and your daughter get shot in the streets of New York City. And then we started to organize as a group of clergy, then starting to train clergy as to how to do clergy walks, going out in the community, saying hi, hello, getting to meet individuals on the street, giving them jobs and opportunities, take them out of where they are and give them, whether it's a job, if they need an ID, if they need to go back to school to get the GED. So we started to organize within our communities. And so that's what we do in Flatbush through the God Squad. The importance of facilities and organizations and structures like St. Anne is that I don't want to be in a city that is soulless. We have a lot of high rises. We have houses of worship that is selling off right now because of the economics and people are moving, gentrification is happening. So institutions and houses of worship like St. Anne is a pillar, it's a bedrock in our communities. It's a sign of hope when people are walking by. It's a sign of hope when people come in to visit with it. It's a sign of hope when children are born into the church. It's a sign of hope. So we need St. Anne and to be that sign of hope. It's a beacon of light. So when you look at all of the darkness in communities and neighborhoods, you want to be able to say, here is a bright spot. And we think that there is no brighter spot in Brooklyn than St. Anne Church, who continues to be the model citizens of the kingdom. Meaning that, listen, we don't want to be so heavenly bound that we know earthly good. And so you do all of the good that you can do because you know that the kingdom is right here, right now for the people that you serve and the people that you see. From all of us here at my local church, Mount Zion Church, and my family and the office of the Brooklyn Borough President, we want to thank you for giving this to me. I'm humbled.